Well, hi, James Gibson. Hi, Tom Couples. How are you guys? You are not trying to reach that, are you? Come on. Come on. You can do it. There we go. Nope. There we don't go. It's whatever you want it to be, Heath. How you doing, sir? All right, we're gonna call that an epic failure for now. Hi, Joseph. Hey, Rail Artist. Hello, James Gibson. Hello. Wow, people here already. Um, yeah, I'm running cleaning cars. If you've never seen my cleaning cars, you can see them just leaving the village view there. And then slowly coming up the DBK. Hey, Mark, how are you? Nice to have you here too. Well, hello, Timber Surf. I don't have a lot of trains running. In fact, I think right now all I have is my I've got my ICE running, the bullet train going above me, and I've got my IC2. And I was just starting up. I'm trying to, I've got about half my tracks empty so I can run my cleaning cars through. And I was sitting down here, was watching Jerry's stream for a while, and I thought, what the heck, I'd come here for a bit and just go ahead and go live and see if anybody showed up to Yak. Hey, Colin, how are you? Um, yeah, Tom, thanks for saying that. I mean, you know, it's getting a good response, and the comments have been good. The likes are not where the first two of, I guess, the trio of stupidity were. So that's made me nervous. Now, I got Ray's laugh of approval, so I feel good about that. Hopefully, Heath didn't mind it. Again, if I ever put a joke and I name somebody and they're like, "Hey, I didn't appreciate that," I'll drop them. I'll take the video down. It was just all in fun. I got an email from somebody who said, "You shouldn't have been making a joke about the extinction of the human race with the current condition of the world." And I'm like, okay, A, the joke has nothing to do with the current condition of the world, but the current condition of the world should also let you know that the possibility of a mass human extinction is always possible, whether it's nuclear war or an infernal disease or anything else like that. And again, you either laugh or you don't. So I've been a little, and again, this is why comedy is truly scary to do or hard to do because I personally think what I put up yesterday was the funniest of the 3 videos I did. It also was the most work, obviously. Yeah, I just noticed I've got all my trains going in the same direction. There's only 4 of them going, but yeah. Actually, that little dude should be going the other way. You know, comedy is subjective. What is funny to one person is not funny to somebody else. Well, hello, Simon. Thanks for joining in. We've got a night shoe so you can advertise your channel. Simon here has a channel where he's got a little bit of a layout, and he does rail fanning. He is a channel that I saw him talking in somebody else's chat, and there were like 3 guys, 3 I knew and 3 I didn't know, and I went to their channels, liked what I saw, and I joined all the channels. So Simon's got a cool channel there, so check him out. Simon is more, I would say, more of a rail fanner based on the videos I've watched as opposed to a model railway guy, but I mean, obviously there's room for both. But he does put up a lot of cool little videos. At the cabin on the river. Yeah, today is Sunday here. Obviously Sunday for most people, unless you're in Australia, where it's Monday already, early Monday morning in Australia. Yeah, Sunday evening is still, my kids are all grown. My oldest is 25, and he is moving a few hundred miles, couple hundred miles south of here in a week. He won't be here at dinner tonight because he's working his second to last day at his job. Because he's taken a new job elsewhere. But Sunday we have the family over, so my 2 daughters will be here, my son-in-law will be here, my grandson will be here. Joyce has always made something about Sunday being a family day, no matter how old we get, because her family was like that, and that's great with me. I love seeing my kids. Probably don't see them enough. Hey, Luma is here. Hi there. Oh, I'm fully aware. Jean Ricard, you got to remember, I'm a public school teacher. I'm used to most people not liking what I do. I can't go into a restaurant, watch the news without somebody bashing what I do. I'm a published author. I've had to give book shows and have people critique or say what they didn't like about my book. And you also get the compliments. So there's always going to be naysayers, but when you put your effort out there, any artist is usually going to listen to what the negatives are, even if they're a small percentage. If you get a 99 positive thumbs up and 1 thumbs down, you're going to pay more attention to that 1 thumbs down a bit. That's human nature. And if you're an artist, think about your job. You do your job correctly, everybody that's expected. You mess up, that's when the boss comes to talk to you. That's when people come on you. Hey, hello, hi. Wow, I really didn't expect much. Like I said, I am running my cleaning cars. I will stop them in front of the 4K camera here and kind of just explain them real quick. Yep, a little further, come along a little further. And I'll even try to turn this camera a little bit. Now that's going to probably put it at a bit of an angle because it's on two different levels of stuff. Anyhow, exactly, rail artists. Anyhow, I use cleaning cars by a company called Lux. Lux is a German company, and these are expensive cleaning cars. When I got into the hobby, I was about 5 years ago, I was told, get these. These are the best by all the German guys. Because when I first got into the hobby, when I went online, I was on all German sites. Because Märklin is German, and the vast majority of people who run Märklin are German. After a while, I got tired of just hearing German and talking German. I went to some English sites, and I stumbled across, I was just looking for people into model trains, and I stumbled across English sites, and suddenly I was subscribed to 30, 40 UK 00 channels, and then I slowly filtered into the American market. But again, brand of train, brand of that, it's everybody's got their favorites. Everybody's going to say this brand sucks and this brand's good. But Lux were highly recommended. They're highly rated. You can get them in DC. Now I have 3 cars because I run 3-rail track. So the first car you see here cleans the middle. And I will come to, do I have a piece of track here? Yeah, I got the same turnout I have sitting here. I still got to put in. Where are we at? Okay, let's go to Nexi Solo. There it is. This is the Märklin 3-rail track. This is a turnout, obviously. And if you look at it, you can see the third rail is those little nubs down the middle. So the first car scrubs those. It cleans those. It's got a little sandpaper-based brush, and it just slowly vibrates back and forth and rubs excess oil. You actually do want a little oil on your rails. When you scrub all that oil off and try to get them back to like just out of the box, that's actually not the best situation. You want a little buildup of grease. You don't want over, dirt filled. I say grease and people say it's not grease. Grease is not good. Okay. But you want a little buildup of residue on the track. It's actually better for tire grippage and a little bit of now with if you're running 2-rail, your power is run through the 2 rails. Mine's run through the 3rd rail down the middle. Anyhow, so that's what the first car does. The second car is a brush that cleans off the outer rails, and then the third is a vacuum. So let's go back to where am I at? Let's go back to scene 3, and I'll start these guys up again. I'm about ready to change rail. They've been cleaning the first rail, so and that's been for about, I was doing it for about 25 minutes. I just started when I came down here. Split Rock is here. I'm gonna go back. Yeah, Simon, everybody is, I call it being knighted. Everybody's knighted. You're members of the rhomboid table. We're too square to be Knights of the Round Table. So you can advertise your channel. A lot of live streams don't want you advertising. On here, you can advertise your channel, somebody else's channel, as long as it's train or hobby related, or if it's a positive, good channel, you say, hey, I want you to check this out. Here's a guy that does a great comedy bit or something like that. I'm pretty loose. The only thing I don't want people sharing in here are politics. We don't talk politics in here. Anything that is extremely controversial, medical stuff, with the COVIDs, everything. My model train world, like I think most guys in model trains, is where I come to escape the reality of the world. I come down here to watch my trains and meditate, if that makes sense. So when I live stream, I want to talk to people, because one of the reasons I call myself an outsider is, I've been an outsider all my life. Okay. In my own family, I'm an outsider, an outcast. Um, whether you want to start with I'm a lefty in a right-handed world, uh, I grew up in rather poor neighborhoods, and I was an academic kid when most kids my age were getting into gangs and drugs and everything else. I was the goody two-shoes. Uh, so teachers recognized I was an academic student, so they put me in all the advanced and accelerated academic classes, but that was mostly upper and working class, upper middle class, wealthy kids, and I didn't fit in with them because I was a poor kid. Um, and then I went to an all-boy high school, which didn't help because I went to a school not my neighborhood, which caused a lot of issues. What, you're too good to go to the local high school? You can't go to our school? And blah, blah, blah. So I've always felt like an outsider. And then when I got into model trains, I got into German 3-rail, where I'm an American and everybody runs American rail. I run 3-rail, everybody else runs 2-rail. And I know of one other guy in the city of Toledo, and Toledo has about 320,000 people, but I only know of one other guy in the city of Toledo who runs German trains. And he also runs on Maryland track. And he lives about 2 miles away from me, but we don't like each other. And and he was a member of the one train club I joined and then quit. Because I go to a train club, so let's talk trains, let's run trains, let's have fun. And they turned it into political rallies, everything, and all sorts of stuff. And I just was like, you know what? I don't fit in here. So, but, you know, if you go back to the very first show I put on YouTube, I talked about my goal on YouTube was to find people I could talk to. Since I can't talk to them live in my living room, I'll talk to them via my shows. And then that was kind of cool. But when I started going to live streams last year, when the showstopper hit, that's where it really clicked with me. Tim Wells, Sparky, Chris, Hales Heritage Railway, a guy named Christopher Sakura Densha, his evening live feeds, late night live feeds for him. And I just got addicted. And one day I was bored and I said, I think I'll try a live feed. And then it was like heroin. I was addicted. Okay, so anyhow. James Gibson, if I didn't say hello, but I can't. There's James Gibson, James Galston. Okay, so James Gibson is here because there's also James Galston. I mean, yeah, we're all insiders in our own clique, but it's not like I sit here alone and feel miserable. You gotta remember, I got an awesome wife, and if you didn't see her performance in our video we posted yesterday, she actually wrote part of that. That was kind of, some of that was her idea. She actually was originally opposed to me doing the Planet of the 8-Bit for no other reason than she knew I would have to buy some things, and she really don't mean. She was like, "Why are you gonna go buy that? You're only gonna use it once." Well, welcome, Blue Thunder Whisper Mode. You're the alternative mod mode. Yes, Toby, Rowan Atkinson as Toby the Devil is awesome. It's one of my favorite comedy skits of all time. If you've never seen Rowan Atkinson as old Toby, it's hilarious. He plays the devil sounding like a cruise director. It's hilarious. You know, I do get asked a lot when okay, let's harken back. You keep hearing me talk about this. I am a failed comedian. And the failure was my fault. I've had friends in junior high and high school tell me, you should go into comedy. Joyce will tell you, within a week of dating me, she was like, you should go into comedy. her friends, you should go into comedy. Again, my friends in high school and college, this very small group of, you should go into comedy. And, you know, I kind of did open mic stuff, and I thought it went all right. But I always wanted to be a serious writer. I wanted to be accepted for my serious writing, my poetry, which I've won some awards for, got a book published, and it's done nothing for me other than I can say I got a book published and I've got a couple of awards for my book hanging up. But all the awards, and that meant nothing because the book sold 600 copies worldwide. Whoop-de-doo. But yeah, I'll tell you, at 17, I dreamt that I would sell. I would become the next great Carl Sandburg, Robert Frost, John Donne. You know, I really had those aspirations. I thought nobody would ever take me serious as a comedian or no one would ever take me serious as a writer if I was also a stand-up comedian. And so I shied away and kind of rejected that, and it's always been a part of my soul. But again, if I were a good comedian, some of the crap I put on YouTube over the last 3 years would have gotten some attention by now. Some of you laugh, some of you don't. Some come here to see trains, and then they see all the silly stuff I do, and then I'm never working on my layout or anything. You know, that's why I have 900 subs and not 9,000 subs. And again, I know when I say I have 900 subs, most of my biggest friends on YouTube have a lot less than that, and so, and I will never understand why I have so many and so many other people have so few, even if Heath will tell you he knows why. The horse poop watermark on my stuff is I really need to change lanes here and get the cleaner going on the next one. So where is he so I can change lanes? There he is. I'll wait till he comes around a bit and hope I remember, because he is on 3. Yeah. The horse poop is actually part of a phrase that says it's all a bunch of horse poop. And if you were to look closely at the watermark, it is a logo for me, my daughter designed, of a character from my cowboy cartoon, the Matt Clark cartoon, the kid Smokey, who says about 30 times through the series, "It's all a bunch of horse poop." And, but that actually harkens back to an old, oh, that's right, I never loaded those on here. All right, I'll do it the old-fashioned way. Because that's the one that's not motorized, it figures. Sorry, just had to do the manual switch because that one's not motorized. Because the one that's motorized is here. So I had to do the manual switch there. The whole point of my system is that I could press a button here, it opens and closes, and I don't have to do that. But that's the one over there that's not manufactured. Hey, Greg, how are you? Good morning in Australia. Good Monday morning. And no, I mean, that's just it, Mark. I mean, maybe someday I'll change the name of my channel, but it is my identity. I don't truly... I was talking about that on Friday, and things kind of went into some darker veins or negative veins, and the stuff I put in the previous 2 videos, where I'm like, nobody likes me, but that was all the BS to set up the joke. You know, where I'm like, I realize I don't fit in, and you always make me That was all BS. That was not sincere talking. It was to set up the joke. Even the second one where I say a serious response. Truth is, my response was serious. I put a joke at the end about the hoppers again, but that was just a continuation of the previous one. But my actual response to Peter's challenge was a serious response. I ran passenger cars. And there was no joke in the passenger cars. And part of it was to set that up. I appreciate all the help I'm getting and the support you gave me, and I really do appreciate all the friendships. But I was being very dramatic. And my favorite comment was John, Mystic Southern Railway, who said, "You suckered me. I will never trust you again." And that's what I wanted to do. I really wanted to present that sad sack, that poor, lonely, self-abusive bit there to sell the joke. And then yesterday's upload was just pure insanity. Jean Ricard, why do I want to see myself as something else? I don't want to see myself as something else. It's how I see myself. I'm a teacher. Even if I've been an entertainer longer than I've been a teacher was what I put my heart and soul into. My third grade teacher will tell you. She told me. Of course, she wouldn't tell you now because she's dead. But my third grade teacher would have told you, as she told me when I went back to see her when I was in college and had decided to become a teacher. Mrs. McClellan looked at me and said, "We knew you were going to be a teacher. We could tell in third grade you were going to be a teacher." It is a vocation. Being a teacher is a calling. Some people choose to be teachers, but the good ones, they were called to it. They were summoned to it. And as I look back, yeah, my career was kind of going into teaching. Now, had I sold 1 million copies of my book, and would I have stayed a teacher? No. Because deep down, the dream was to be a successful writer. But you got to have dreams, and you got to act on those dreams. And I still have time. Now that I'm going to retire from teaching, I can go back and maybe go back to that writing career. And I've done a lot of writing. The problem is I can't write a novel. If I start to write a novel, I wind up, oh look, I just started writing Jurassic Park again. Oh look, I just started writing Lord of the Rings again. I become too derivative. I become too imitative of other writers. I have too many influences, and poetry is the one place where even when I see the influence of other writers in it, I definitely have my own style. But I've written short stories and gotten published. I've written articles for some magazines. Speaking of Tolkien, I've written a few articles for the Tolkien Society of America magazine back in the 80s and 90s because I'm a huge Tolkien geek. In my teaching career, I've written things for the State Board of Education, both for foreign language and the teaching of German and for teaching of English, and also helped write some of our state standardized testing until I got sick of the politics involved. There you go, Simon. Hey, Sarah's here. Hi, Sarah. And that's where right now on this channel, don't read too much into what I say here. The problem is I have always been an open book. I try not to hide from people. I hide from people in real life because I'm not comfortable in big crowds unless I'm in front of the crowd. And it takes me a long time to trust people enough to become close friends. That's why it hit me so hard when my friend Dean died, because he's one of the few people that got really inside the circle. But what you see here on any given Friday, or even in my silly videos, that's me. So don't try to read between the lines and try to interpret more. I have a past, I have a present, I have a future. And for the most part, I'm happy with most of it. There are things in my life I wish I could change, but change is a domino effect. You know, if I went back and changed some of the darkest parts of my life, I would have never met Joyce, and Joyce is the brightest part of my life. And then my kids, which are obviously very bright parts of my life, and my grandson now. And you can't change it anyhow. But there's a part of me that, you know, anybody who paints would love to be Picasso or Rembrandt or Da Vinci or whatever. Who knows, 2,000 years from now, somebody may discover a copy of my book and said, who was this brilliant writer? Hi, Tim JD, how are you? You know, the funny thing is, again, people say, oh, I shouldn't be surprised you're on. I surprise myself when I go on, other than the Friday shows, but every now and then I'm down here and I'm like, oh, what the heck? I'm just running cleaning cars, a couple of trains, and then I'll have to move my ICE out of the way so my cleaning cars can clean that. But I'm just running my cleaning cars on the outer loops today, and then hopefully after work tomorrow I'll do the inner loops. But boom. I live in Moby Dick. I mean Wales. You know, the thing is, I enjoyed my teaching career, although my boss right now in the last couple of days at work it's almost like she thinks I put in my retirement. She's like, man, I've never nailed him, and I'm going to make his last year. Because a lot of the stuff that she thinks she could nail me for don't apply to me this year. Because she's one of my evaluators for my state teacher evaluation. Because it's my last year, she can't evaluate me. And see, that's the thing. I worked for a radio station in college, but I was the news. But since we had about 800 listeners on our station, my news became a comedy show. And then, and to tell you, I worked at a small college town in the country. So our most popular radio show at this college station was the 4-hour-long Hour of Power Christian radio broadcast. Okay? That should tell you the environment I lived in. The college I was at the time after I left West Point. This tiny little college in this tiny little town, our biggest show was Sunday morning, 8 to 12, the Hour of Power. And I talked our radio station manager into giving me a show on the station. I had to do the 12 o'clock news, but then they were constantly changing shows from 12 to 2 because a couple of the talk shows we piped in, we lost the license to pipe in. Conservative, you know, I won't get into that, but conservative talk shows. And I talked them into giving me a chance to just do my own show. And they're like, what are you going to do on it? I said, insanity. And the guy says, well, nobody listens between 12 and 2 anyhow, go ahead. And I had a 2-hour show for a bit where I did all kinds of insanity. I did goofy interviews where I would take questions, make up serious questions, but then I would take lines from pop rock songs to answer the questions. You know, well, Mr. Vice President, could you tell us how you see yourself? I'm a rambler, I'm a gambler, I'm a midnight, you know. Can you discuss how you feel about how Russia backed out of the current arms deal, Mr. Vice President? If you think I'll sit around as the world goes by, you're thinking like a fool. It's a case of do or die. You know, and I would just play that. And that show lasted about 5 weeks before it was canceled. Apparently the Hour of Power people did not like my devil show from 12 to 2. Actually, 12:15 to 2. And I did voices and stuff, and I just did all kinds of crazy stuff on it. And then at the end of that school year, I transferred colleges again. I went to 3 colleges, 3 universities. Did I miss what I missed? You do the opposite. So I still remember. This is Anthony Dodge with WONU's 6 o'clock news. Here are the top headlines. Because when you do your news report, you got to go into a deeper voice, and you got to be a little more erudite with the way you speak and so forth. The U.S. invasion of Panama continues. But yeah, so I worked for a radio station for a bit. And I was actually, my original major in college, I was taking English to be a writer, but I was also taking political science and everything because I was thinking of being a lawyer, and that lasted about a year. Not even a year. I was taking a bunch of history and poli-sci, all the prerequisite courses. But I had a quadruple major when I was in college. Well, here, let me, rather than do this, these are the degrees I got in 4 years of college, 4 years at university. These are all the degrees I've got. And again, if you don't know the American nomenclature, I got a BA in English, a BA in German, I got a BS in linguistics, and I got a BE in education to be a teacher, and I got a BA in history, and then I got an MA in English and English literature, master's. And after that, I decided I didn't want any more college degrees. So I never went for a doctorate in anything or tried to advance. I'm also about 6 classes short of a degree in psychology, but that's never going to happen. 3 classes short of a degree in psychology. My college days was 20 semester hours and, or 20 quarter hours, I should say. We were on quarters back then. 20 quarter hours, and then I worked 40 to 60 hours a week. I don't remember free time, and yet somehow I know I dated Joyce in that time because I was a freshman in college and Joyce was a senior in high school. She was in her last year of secondary school, and I was in my first year of college when we started dating. But yeah, so it was, and I worked at the radio station, did that, but when I fell into education, decided to become a teacher, a nice thing is a lot of courses crossed into each other. A lot of my English courses fit requirements for my linguistics degree. Some of my German courses fit into my linguistics degree. They all fit into my education degree and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I fell into education early sophomore year, decided, yeah, I'd just go ahead and be a teacher. But I still wanted that, I wanted to be a writer or teacher. And so anybody tell me to be a comedian, I was like, no! I'm sure we've told this story. How did Joyce and I meet, Jean Ricard asked, or where did I meet Joyce? I met Joyce in the back seat of a friend's car. Actually, not a friend. The back seat of a car belonging to the boyfriend of a girl I had spent a year chasing and never got anywhere with. Say what? I shall explain as quickly as possible. Joyce and I met on a double blind date. Neither one of us were supposed to be on that date. There was this girl that many men in my high school class and the class ahead of me dated. I was O for high school. I never had a girlfriend and couldn't even work up the courage to ask a girl out because I had very, very low self-esteem, and the couple of girls I showed remote interest in were like, "Ew, girls, go away." I actually was not, I never looked in the mirror and thought I was ugly. I wasn't the handsomest guy in school, but I was average looking, decent looking guy. And anyhow, I had just dropped out of West Point and had not started up at Ohio Northern University yet. And so I was in town, unexpected, ran into a friend. He said, "There's a party at so-and-so's house tonight." So I said, "What the hell, I'll go to the party." And at the party was this girl I'd been hitting on, and I made one more effort to hit on her because I figured if she went out with half the guys in my class, I've got a shot, right? The word hoe comes to mind now. Slut, floozy, whatever you want to use. But I was chasing her because I figured I might have a chance. Over high school sucked. And I had gone over high school. Remember, I'm in college now, so I couldn't change the over high school bit. Anyhow, I had a good time at the party. Hit on a couple of girls. Nothing came of it. About a month later, I'm at Ohio Northern and I get a call. And this is before cell phones. It's in my room. And it's the girl that I had been chasing. And she calls and she says, "Hey, do you want to go out?" And I'm like, finally, she wants to go out. She wants to go out. So like, yes, I do. "Well, are you coming in on the weekend of December 16th? "Why, yes, I am. We'll be on Christmas break. I'll be back into town. Yes." She says, "Great. I got a friend who needs a date." Now right there, a smart man would say, "Wait, no, don't sucker me into this." I was like, it's a date. It'll be date number 1 in my life. And the story was, and I'll shorten it from here, she said a friend of hers had a date cancel for their Christmas dance at their high school. And she thought of me, probably because she knew I didn't have anybody. So I bought the dance ticket and the reservations for the school dance and the school party. And then the girl who had broken up with her boyfriend had second thoughts about not, she didn't want to, she just couldn't give up on her other boyfriend and was going to go with a friend instead. So she canceled out on me. So I was subbing for her, this one girl's boyfriend, because he canceled out. Then she canceled out. So they found, "Joyce, you're not going out with anybody. We got a guy that needs a date tonight." So neither one of us were supposed to be on that date. We were both substitutes for somebody else. So anyhow, the girl I had been chasing for a year and a half drives up with her boyfriend in this big fancy Lincoln Continental, and they drive into my little poor neighborhood, and she gets out in this real sexy red dress. This chick was a gorgeous chick. Sorry, but remember, I'm going back to my 18 and 19-year-old male chauvinist pig mindset. And she walks up to me and goes, looks around at my neighbor, and she goes, "Oh, I didn't know you lived here." Very disgusted. She dated money boys, which is why I never got a chance with her. She dated money boys. And the other guy was from my graduating class, and he's like, "Hey, Anthony." I'm like, "Bill." So I get in the backseat of the car, and there's this beautiful brunette in a black satin dress. And I've already figured out who I'm going out with, and I wasn't really excited about it because I had seen her at the party and was not attracted to her at all. Horrible to say. Again, remember, 18-year-old, 19-year-old pubescent self. And I go, I wonder what lucky guy gets to go out with her. So about halfway through the drive, I go, so, are we meeting my date at the restaurant we're going to? No, Linda canceled out. So I go into freak mode. I'm like, then why am I here? What am I doing here? And then they go, this is Joyce, she's filling in. And I went, winner. And that's how Joyce and I met. But we didn't connect until dinner. Oh, I'm sorry to hear somebody had a house fire. Somebody's neighbor. Richard's here. Okay, hi. I'm sorry, I'm lost in the story and I'm not paying attention to the chat, but you guys are all talking to each other, so it's all good. But anyhow, we went to the fanciest, richest, most expensive restaurant in Toledo. I got $15. Now, this is 1983, and even $15 didn't cover the main meal there. So I'm horrified. We're going to the richest, and I can't afford anything. I'm like, I gotta find I just want a salad or something. And I'm looking at, so we sit down, we're at the restaurant, it's like, I didn't know we were coming here. I only got $15. I just paid my tuition and bought all my books for the next semester or the next quarter, and I'm broke. She's like, I got you covered. I'm like, no, I'm supposed to pay for you. She says, relax, I got you covered. Well, I'm embarrassed about that. Well, then they bring us our salads. And I did not know that at the fanciest restaurants, there's actually a time limit for your salad. So 15 minutes, 20 minutes later, the waiter comes in and starts grabbing the salad plates. Well, I'm not a rabbit food eater anyhow. And so I haven't munched on mine. The other two have done what they're going to do. They're talking and making googly eyes. And Joyce is still eating her salad. And the waiter grabs her plate, and she very politely goes, excuse me, I'm not done yet. She takes the plate back. And he just picks it up and grabs it out of her hands and takes